Oh, my God. From the workshop of the Master of Tarquin Hill. This object is over 12,000 years old. The Kurlan civilization died out thousands of years ago. It is extraordinarily rare to find a figurine intact. Professor, this is an incredible find.
It's yours, Jean-Luc.
Oh, no. No. How can I accept this?
Graciously, Mr. Picard.
Thank you.
Is this it? Yes!
Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Friday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock.
Hey!
Hey, it's the TNG review show. Oh dear. I got the wrong day. I got very confused there for a moment, but it is Wednesday. I'm wishing it was Friday. I'm wishing my week away. But yes, good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday. It's a TNG review show. Maybe it's because I haven't done it for a couple of weeks, and I've forgotten what I'm doing already. Oh dear. But we are back. We are back. And we're never going away again. Don't worry. We're back for good.
Start with a blooper. That's the way to go.
Start with a blooper, yep.
Don't put their expectations too high. Start low.
Start low, yeah. That's so. Yes, good evening, everyone. We're back. We're consigning another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation to our vault. And this evening, I'm here with my co-hosts, not Mazim Bob, but Chief Sean and Lieutenant Commander Tabbykins Turner. How you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Yes, unfortunately, Mazam Bob can't be with us this evening. She's on an errand of mercy, so she's helping out a friend in need. So we're hoping she'll be back next week. But yes. But we are here. I had a lovely time off last week down the holiday home with the family for half term. But I feel rested and good to go. How's your week, Sean?
Yeah, all right. I was just telling you on it there. I went sail agreed in the house today, so that's my most exciting news. Yeah, thank you. While to go and got some horrific 70s decor, but we'll get there. Yeah. Outside of that, sorry, I did forget to mention this, but my my usual chair broke. You know, like the gas cylinder went, so it keeps sinking. So I had to go to my backup chair. So I apologize if you hear a lot of creaking and moving because this chair is a little bit creaky. So apologies. I'll replace it as soon as I can.
No worries.
Can you get a lot of that? Can you hear that kind of? Yeah, you can get a bit of that.
Yeah, you can't really hear it. It's
Okay, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've played at my gain settings. It's right and low, so hopefully it's not too bad. So sorry about that.
No worries. Tammykins Turner.
Still getting a noisy. Sorry.
How you doing, Tammy?
Doing good. Saying to Sean, you're still going to get a noisy Mike Chief Bingo marking on that chair.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm not buying any computer chairs. I have to resubmit my bank accounts all back to the bank again and have them reinter them. So little expenditures like computer chairs are going to have to wait a couple of weeks. Once I have the house, I don't care. But for the moment, I'll have to wait. So you'll just have to put up with it.
Regular old chairs for you. I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be back.
Yes. You bet you couldn't wait for this episode, and it's got a fair amount of data in it, so not too bad.
It's got a great data scene in it.
So that's not so bad. It's a good one from that point of view to come back on, at least. Tavykins, could you put a link to the bingo in the private chat in StreamYard, just so I can?
And we have the bingo cards that I'm using now will expire soon.
Oh.
So I was thinking of, recreating a new set with different bingo options. So if anybody would like to give their thoughts on that, you can blast me in chat.
Yeah, let us know in live chat. What would you like to see in the new bingo cards? Yeah, let us know.
So you guys,
any good ideas?
We have a look.
Yes, talking about live chat. Good evening to everyone in live chat. Good evening, Wookie. I hope you've been well in the past week. Ruth, the lovely Ruth. Good evening to you. Yes, I don't know how you say it. Is it Claren or Siren or whatever it is? The storm.
It's fun to let you try. It's Kieran.
It's Kieran, is it? I couldn't tell if that was an I or an L from this distance. Yes.
Yeah. There's a hard C in Irish. There's no K in Irish, and there should be a fada on the second A, same as there is in my name. That's why it's not Sean.
I see.
That the line makes the letter longer.
Kieran.
The vowel longer, so it's Kieran. Yeah. Well, Kieran isn't wrong because
Yeah, it's due to hit this evening in the southwest of England, so we're bracing ourselves for 80-mile-an-hour winds and flooding and all sorts of shenanigans.
Yeah, bit of flooding, high river here, bit wet and windy. I'm kind of basically surrounded by mountains, so we don't get it too bad. But when we do get it, it hits all the mountains and comes in, but it kind of passes us by. But it's storm season.
Storm season. Good evening to my wrench, Smiler Rainbow. Good evening to you. And good evening to Stuplum. I hope you're well this evening. Yes. So, I will try to fill in some of the factoid bits that Mazza usually pumps in, if I can. But I haven't got any notes. I'll just see what I can find at the time whilst Sean's reading out his question. But that'll be fine. We'll be fine with that. And we'll jump straight into the episode. I haven't rehearsed this, so I might be tripping over my words this evening, but Anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So the episode that we're interring to our vault this evening is The Chase, episode 20 of season 6, production number 40276-246. It first aired in the United States on the 26th of April 1993 and is the 145th episode to be both produced and released. The teleplay was by Joe Minosky, who collaborated with Ronald D. Moore on the story. It was Joe's 12th of 16 episodes he wrote for TNG, and Ronald's 22nd of 29 episodes. And this was directed by Jonathan Two Takes Frakes, his 6th of 8 directing credits in TNG. Here's a pop quiz for you. No points for this one, but which franchise of Star Trek has Jonathan Frakes most directed?
I'm guessing it's probably Enterprise.
Nope.
No, not Enterprise. Okay. It can't be Deep Space Nine. Maybe it could be Voyager. I guess it could be Voyager. I don't think it's Voyager.
It was actually a trick question because it is TNG.
Okay.
It was a trick question. Yeah, because he's directed 8 episodes of TNG, and he directed 7 of Discovery so far, I guess. Yeah, he directed.
Well, there's only 7 more, and he's definitely directing 1. He might be directing 2, so I guess he might just break that record.
He might just break that record of. Yeah,
and he did some Picard, which I suppose you can count.
6 Picards. 6 Picards. Oh, yes, but 8 TNGs.
And 2 of the films.
And 2 of the films, yes.
Do you know what film he directed in 2004 based on a beloved British franchise?
Yes. Thunderbirds. Yes, that was it.
Yeah,
it was
he did Thunderbirds.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Bad.
He was never asked to direct anything non-Star Trek again. I wonder why.
That was it. That was his directing career outside of Star Trek over with. And,
he said so as much in the Shuttlebot show. He was never asked again to do anything.
No. But bless him. Okay. So we'll start with the teaser. I've got my Wheel of Misfortune ready for the bonus questions. Oh, and I better share my picture screen, else you won't be able to see it. Oh, no, what do we start with? A picture of Data. Once again, my old screen camera.
My huge android dong.
Jesus.
That was loud.
Completely deafened me.
Sorry. Oh, did that work? Sorry, I pressed it twice. It didn't work for me, and I've obviously messed up.
I couldn't actually remove my headset quick enough. It was like, Jesus.
Okay. Until I figured out. Oh, I think I know what I did, but I'll stop messing with those. Sorry about that.
I think you need to be on punishment for a little bit, Sean. Nothing until after.
Crikey.
Oh my God! But look at that physique. That pose is delicious.
Yeah.
That uniform is just right. Yeah.
I thought you might like that initial picture there. I thought that would go down well with the Tavikins. So, the Enterprise is in the Volterra Nebula studying various protostars in various stages of development. Just as Data finishes his analysis of the latest star, Riker calls Picard to the observation lounge. Oh, and also, good evening, Andrew. I hope you're well and not working too hard. Picard enters the observation lounge and all the lights are off. And there's an object in the middle of the table. Picard is surprised by the object, and then, when the lights come up, Picard finds he has an unexpected guest. Professor Galen, a personal mentor of his from his Starfleet Academy days. Picard correctly identifies the object. Am I allowed to say what it is?
Yeah, you can.
It's a Kurlon Naskos, I think they called it. He initially believes it to be 5th dynasty, but then upon further inspection realizes it's actually 3rd dynasty. He enthuses to Will how this object is over 12,000 years old. And of course it's quite funny that, as I put in the intro, he, in a later film, just tosses it to one side like it's nothing.
Yeah, and grabs an old book.
And grabs an old book instead, yeah.
Oh, my book of Shakespeare that's repeated everywhere. Yes, that's so much more important
than this priceless 12,000 year artifact. Yeah. One of a kind. Never will be found again. Right. Galen encourages him to open it, and Picard is amazed to find it is complete, with the little statues inside. Picard explains to Will how the Kurlons believe that each individual is made up of a community of individuals inside us, each with their own voice. I have to tell you that when we watched this scene, Smiler Rainbow really identified with this statue, because she often believes she has lots of little voices inside of her as well. So...
see that film, Inside Out, I think it's called. You know, there's like different personalities.
Yeah.
And then the head. That's good.
That is inside my wife's head. That is, yeah.
Especially that they keep setting up the memory of the chewing gum jingle over and over again. I love it.
Yeah. I've recently been watching. What's the anime? Mob Psycho. I've been watching Mob Psycho anime, and the intro to Mob Psycho has just been permanently ingrained in my brain, and I just can't. I find I'm humming it all the time. It's not even a very good anime intro either, but I just can't. It's an earworm I just can't lose. Yeah. So there's Picard enthusing over his little statues. Galen offers it to Picard as a gift, and Picard is taken back. He is looking forward to spending time with his mentor, but Riker informs him Galen is scheduled to meet with a Vulcan transport in 2 days. Galen encourages Picard to take leave of absence and join him on an expedition of vast importance to the galaxy. And that's how we end our teaser. So guess what? It's question time.
Okay.
I love that red alert.
So I'm going to try this one more time, and if I haven't fixed it, I'm sorry.
Step up to red alert.
Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not playing for me for some reason. I've messed up my settings. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll stop with those. Right.
It played well for us.
It played super well for us. I could hear it through my entire body.
Okay, I'll give up on those for the time being until I have time to mess with the settings. So, what speed does Picard request be laid into the next location? A, quarter impulse. B, half impulse. C, 3/4. D, full impulse. And the bonus question, in what TNG film do we see Picard casually toss the priceless artifact to the ground he is given in this teaser?
I didn't. You notice I didn't say the name of the film. That was very good.
Yeah, thankfully. Although I have a feeling a lot of people will get that one anyway.
I'm gonna guess.
Even in a cinema. Even in cinema on a first watch, at barely age 12, I saw that and I went, "What? Like seriously?"
Oh no, Maria's not here. So who's gonna record the results of the quiz?
No. Okay, I'll have to try and.
I don't know the scores. I don't know the scoring.
It's all right. We can just make it up for this one.
Doesn't generally go up by around 10, 20, 30 or something?
Yeah, just double it each time, or add 10 each time. Just make this one 10, the next one 20, the one after that 30. You can do that.
Yeah. Okay, mounting heavy stew.
And yeah, I guessed B. I have to say, I have no idea, but I did go with Generations.
Okay. All right. So do we?
Fabulous.
I'll just talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
So we mentioned at the beginning that. Oh no, I've lost myself. It was written by Ronald D. Moore and Joe Minisky.
Minosky, I think it is.
Yep. It was inspired. Their story was inspired by Carl Sagan's novel Contact, and
Which had a film made of it.
And which had a film with Jodie Foster. And it was originally going to be more of a comedy on the sort of side of mad. It's a mad world involving Riker being sort of kidnapped by Ferengi and being chased around the galaxy. But they decided that really wouldn't work, and they wanted something a bit more deep and meaningful. But that sounded quite good fun, to be honest. There was something else about it. Jonathan Frakes felt that the ending was a little poor because they obviously used Planet Hell for the final scene, and that was his. He thought the worst aspect of this episode was the ending. He would have preferred to go out and shoot. Like out in the desert or something, on a salt plane or something, make it look a little bit more filmatic rather than obviously just another Planet Hell.
Well, the lighting was good. They did reasonably well to disguise it, but I would say, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of desert 40 minutes outside of there. They couldn't have half a day of shooting. I've been watching a lot of SG1 lately. I mean, every episode practically they do location shooting. I mean, I know they did it cheaper because they did it in Canada, but you're just by Star Trek standards, it's like, why could they afford to do it and Star Trek couldn't?
Yeah. And also, I was just going to say, it's quite funny that should come up in this episode because one of the recent episodes of Lower Decks, I don't know if anybody watches Lower Decks, but they had an episode where they were stuck in a cave, and so they reminisced about other times when the crew or each other had got stuck in a cave, and each one was the same cave, and it was modelled on Planet Hell. It looked exactly the same with the little waterfall bit and the layers and everything. It was it looked just like Planet Hell, so it did make me chuckle.
Mike McMahon is, he's a big fan. The guy, if you've ever seen an interview with him, the guy who does the showrunner for Lower Decks, he is the biggest, he's the biggest nerd. I can't speak for anything myself, but you look at him, you don't need for him to tell you he's a Star Trek fan. You can just look at him and tell. He knows the shield frequency in Generations that the Lurs and B'Etor used to get through. You ask him, he'll just have it. He's that kind of level of nerd. So I like the fact he picks up on those details.
And they went into a science lab, and you could see the three orbs in the background, and the little console that's embedded in the wall there behind you. Look, the embedded console. They had the modern props twin laser thing. It just makes you laugh. You see all these little bits. Basically, that whole thing that's behind you there. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Which is featured also in this episode, so I thought that was quite funny as well. But yes. So, what are the answers to the old question then, Sean?
I'll give you the old Keshidori. So it was 3/4 impulse, and excuse me, it was Generations.
Generations. Was it C? Was that C?
It was, yeah. Sorry, I have to sneeze.
So, Stu Plum got that right, so you can give him points. Tavikin's got it right, and she got Generations right. Ruth got both of them wrong, unfortunately.
She changed her answer at the end.
She changed it to generations, so she got generations right. But like me, she got the first question wrong. So I think that's all of us on the wheel, isn't it?
Yeah. So
in the end,
we'll take a spin there.
Apart from Maz, because Maz not here. But that's Ruth, Tavi, Wookie, and me. And Stuplum. Did Stuplum say generations?
I believe so.
Oh, no, I don't think he did.
No, Stu says C, all right, so he gets 10 for that.
He gets 10 for that, but he didn't get a bonus. So there's just 4 of us. So we've got a 25% failure against the Wookmeister. So
Ruth, you're right. Sorry, I was actually 8 in '94, and I still saw it. I was born in October '85, so I think it came out in the summer. So it would have been 8 turning 9.
Okay, I'm
sorry. Go on.
Wheel.
Even at that age, I knew it was wrong.
Tabby! Tabby got the extra points.
All right.
Yay!
Wookie didn't strike this time. Maybe next time.
I'm now always sadistically hoping he wins just because it brings so much pain and anguish to see it slowly stop. And then...
Yeah. It's when you're like the only person to get it right, and initially you're like, yes, I'm the only person to get it right, and then you're like, oh no, I'm 50-50 against Wookie. That's not good. No. I'm losing points. Oh no. Yeah. Anyway, well done, Tammy. Right, Act 1. So Picard and Galen are having tea together in 10 forward, and Picard questions what his old mentor has been up to the last 10 years, because his papers have been sporadic and his attendance at conferences has been almost non-existent. Galen tells him that he has continued his work on micropaleontology, which Picard had thought he'd finished. But no, he's continued, and he's made more discoveries. And he's made a discovery so profound that when it's published, his findings will be heard across the galaxy. He won't say anything further until Picard agrees to join him on his expedition. It'll take about 3 months to a year. That's all he's asking. Of course, it would be quicker if he had a starship, but all he's got is his own shuttle and any transports they can muster. Picard asks him... Sorry?
He's pretty dumb for throwing that in there. You know, a starship captain or anyone in this sort of setting has to get leave. You can't just waddle on off. He should have known that was a no coming in.
Yeah. Picard asks if he can sleep on it, and they leave it at that. But I was like, with you, I was like, he's the captain of the Federation flagship. He just can't in a space of a day, just wander off for a year.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure he has to wait for the ships in port, at a starbase or, down for a refit before. You can't just leave it on active duty without its captain. That's not a thing.
I'm surprised he didn't ask, like, if it's going to take you 3 months to a year with just a shuttle, how quick do you think you could get it done with a starship and a full crew? Because, like, if it's like a couple of weeks, we might be able to just fit you in. But no.
Particularly, you think if, even if, I know we're on about like Ghost War 5, which is considered a lot for a small vessel. But, do you remember Spock had that little shuttle with the warp sled? You'd think to be able to get something like that get you up to warp 7, warp 8, that would make quite a difference, to get these things done.
Yeah. Wookie points out he probably could just call a sickie and, not take leave, just like blue flu type thing.
Why does he even have to go to all these planets? Can you not just tell someone to get a sample? He doesn't need to tell them what it's for. That's different people to do it.
Yeah, and that would be more... That would obfuscate what he's doing as well, wouldn't it? Nobody would understand then what the whole end goal would be.
That's 12 different people with 12 different samples.
If he'd actually told Picard the gravity of his situation, he probably would have been escorted by the flagship herself to get all these.
Yes, I'm
Like,
just
what?
I'm just about on the cusp of discovering. Yes, I won't give the end away right now. We'll get there in a minute. Yeah, so Picard goes to sleep on it, and then the next morning he meets Beverly in his quarters for a morning cup of tea and breakfast, probably, and Picard tells her about Galen's request. But in the end, he realizes that Galen didn't choose that gift randomly, that it depicts the many voices within, one, he'd love to have been an archaeologist, and the other, his desire to reach for the stars and become a starship captain. In some ways, he does regret not taking the archaeological path, but not really. He just doesn't like letting the professor down. And now he has to do it again. So Picard meets Galen in the science lab and declines the professor's request, as he's not willing to leave the Enterprise. Galen tells Picard not to make the same mistake twice. He could have become the foremost archaeologist of his generation, but he's turned his back on it. Galen pleads with Picard to come with him, but again, Picard declines. So Galen gets angry and leaves and tells Picard they have nothing further to discuss. I felt a bit sorry for Picard at that point, because he was like dreading, telling him no again, but and it kind of did go as badly as he thought it would.
Yeah. So when you see like Picard's dad in the different flashbacks, like I believe it was Tapestry, it was very judgmental. You notice that there's some correlations in the personality of this man and his actual father. The way they're very judgy and harsh. So it's very interesting.
But imagine going to the captain of any British or American Navy ship and just going, do you fancy coming on an adventure? Just leave your naval career behind. Could be 3 months, could be a year. Just leave your ship. It'll be fine. You spend 20 or 30 years being the best of the best every single day, the top 1% over and over and over again to get there. And you go, yeah, I think I'll just blow it all off. I don't think so.
Do you want to just come to Bora Bora to collect some plant samples instead? No. No, I'm fine. I'm fine where I am.
You can't get that far, that high without being obsessive. It's just not possible. You have to be so methodically perfect. Yeah, I know they portray Kirk as being a captain, but in reality, nobody like that would ever be a captain. Lieutenant Commander.
Methodical. He was. Right. So, sometime later, on the bridge, Troy senses Picard's unease and asks him if he wants to go for a walk on the Arboretum, but just as they're about to leave, they get a message from Galen saying he's under attack. They redid the shimmering effect for whatever reason on this footage on the screen. It didn't look like this in the SD version, but this is the last episode on what's it called? Astra, whatever it's called.
Exastrociencia.
Yeah, that one. This is the last episode covered on that website.
From the stars' knowledge, or from the sky's knowledge. One of those.
Yes. Really?
Or
they didn't go beyond this one.
They didn't go beyond this episode. No, I don't know why.
Jorg is still rewatching them again. I don't know why he hasn't put them up, but he'll get to them.
Oh no, I just read that. So Data confirms that the shuttle is indeed under attack, and reports that the professor's life signs are fading. So they bring the fire up on the view screen, and we see an Iridian ship attacking the shuttle. And here it is. I have to say, for a like spaceship of the week, the Iridian ship there is quite a nice looking ship.
Yeah,
That was when I saw that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wondered that was it a model from another show or a film, or like I don't think they could have paid for that on a weekly TV budget. We never even see it again.
They made that model just for this episode.
Strange.
It was a really interesting ship and so different from all the ones they've been shown before, and in a more stylish way. Because a lot of the starships, or a lot of the other not starships, but other ships from different nations, seem to be a bit like, okay, these people look like they've got some class, some taste.
And it's used again in another future episode as an Iridian ship, but they just reuse the footage from this scene, but reversed, so it's facing the other direction.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's it. Apart from that, that's the only time this model is ever used in Star Trek. Which is a shame, because it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm surprised it didn't even come up in Deep Space Nine or something, As one of those ships that go wrong in the background or something like that,
Yeah, it's not a particularly big ship, I will say, because obviously the shuttle isn't much bigger than it.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty.
So they get into a phaser fight with the attacking ship, but one phaser hit destroys it, surprising Worf, and then they beam the professor to sickbay.
I have to say, in my mind, when I saw that thing blew up and Riker turns around, he goes, "Worf!" I can imagine Worf going, "I don't know. I don't know what happened, sir." And then the second everyone turns away, he's got this grin on his face like, finally, I get to destroy something.
I've destroyed something. Yes. They beam the dock straight to sickbay, but they bring the professor straight to sickbay. But Dr. Crusher reports that he's took a disruptor blast point blank range to the chest, and there's nothing she can do. With his final breath, Galen apologizes to Picard for being so harsh to him before. And then he dies. And that's the end of Act 1.
Yeah, so actually, no, I'll give you questions first. What field of study, Picard asked Galen, is he familiar? A, chaos theory, B, paleobotany, C, paleobiology, or C, micropaleontology. I don't know why I wrote that question for myself. I'm just tripping over my own tongue. And the bonus question, Picard mentions his father in this act, but in which series of Picard do we see his father? Played by John Challis of Stardate One fame, who doesn't play Bashir. He just looks exactly like him.
Yes.
But I was going to say he got even though he's white and Bashir is South Sudanese or partially, they still look exactly the same. I was going to say, like, how did he get a disruptor? Because we only saw they didn't mention any boarding party or anything. So did it just shoot through the ship and hit him in the chest?
I assume they boarded. The shuttle, shot him, tried to take the files, and then beamed back.
Maybe that's what they did. But then what?
I assume. It's all a bit vague, this bit.
Yeah, it's a bit clumsy.
That
classic trope of just having enough time to finish the sentence before dying. It's like, really?
Wookie says there's the problem with a lot of ships in Star Trek is they're not aerodynamic enough. Because this ship does look pretty aerodynamic, doesn't it? For a spaceship.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The structural integrity field kind of has to keep it within the same bubble, the warp bubble. So it's the warp bubble that keeps it all together. Otherwise, the ship would be torn apart because different parts. I'm assuming
the aerodynamics on starships are just for purely aesthetic reasons.
Pretty much, yeah. Once it's inside the warp bubble, it doesn't really matter.
It could be a cube. It doesn't matter.
We do see in the episode Threshold that when they're trying to go to warp 10, there is a speed differential and the nacelles rip off, but that's because they're doing a speed that the ship isn't built to. So you're laughing because I went into a deep dive there.
Yeah,
but normally speaking, Normally
like,
speaking, it's not an issue.
It was just one little joke, you know. how could it have caused this big discussion?
Yeah.
How is this possible? Yeah. I better answer the question, Ben. What was the question again? I forgot to hit the thing as well. Sorry. It is question time. I've got to hit the button.
You can tell we've had a few weeks off, can't you?
What am I doing? The question was...
Did Picard ask Galen, is he familiar? Chaos theory, paleobotany, paleobiology, or micropaleontology?
Oh.
And the bonus question is, in what season of Picard do we see his father?
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yes, the only thing I was going to mention about this act was I was going to mention about the Iridian ship. And of course, you know who the Iridians are. We've seen an Iridian before in this.
Yeah, Bert's right, yeah.
It was like the guy that told Worf about his father being alive in Deep Space Nine.
Kind of looks like a mole.
Yeah, it looks like a sort of
human
mole.
Those naked moles that are...
Yeah. Like an underground burrowing mole.
Yeah. That's the Iridians, and Picard describes them as information brokers, because, I mean, that's what they were doing. That's what he was doing with Worf, wasn't he, in that episode, Birthright, and that's what these guys are doing here. That's unexplained why they blew up so quickly, why one phaser fire, one weak phaser beam blew them up.
There was a few pages missing for time or something, because it's not explained. And later on, they managed to sell the information, but the ship blew up. And
there was no transmission. So how did they get the information to the? That's never explained.
Maybe the ship was unmanned. But if the ship was unmanned, who came on and shot him in the chest? I mean, that's just going like what?
There's some. Yeah, it doesn't quite add up, the whole Iridian bit.
Few scenes missing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put the... for anybody that wants to join the bingo, and our bingo is for... Sean says... what have I done? There we go. Sean says a fact or a phrase of Seanness, and you might find it on a bingo card. So if you haven't got a bingo card, there's the link for a bingo card, and you can start marking them off, and you'll get extra points at the end. So there you go. If you wanted to join the bingo and you haven't done already, there's your link to the bingo card. And while I've got you, if you'd like to hit the like button, that would be fantastic. Hint, hint, Sean. Hit the like button.
Yeah, I've hit it.
Oh, you've hit it. Oh, Sean's hit it. Yeah, Sean's done his job.
We're on 6 with 7 watching, so we're near enough at capacity, but...
A drone robot shot him in the chest. A drone robot. They beamed it back. Oh, yeah. And then beamed it into space before it self-destructed so that the Cardassians could then pick it up. They're cunning Iridians.
Yeah, it was a Baldric kind of plan.
Yeah. a plan so cunning it graduated from Cunning University with a degree in cunningness in Cunninghamshire, or something like that.
Like Tabby got a reference for normally they go over your head.
The Baldwin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that down as an actor fact.
A plan so cunning you can pin a tail on it, call it a weasel.
Yeah. Speaking of, what did he do after Blackadder in fucking Time Team with archaeology?
That's true. He became an archaeologist. Yeah.
Well, archaeological
we don't mention
presenter. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So the field was D, micropaleontology, or something to that effect.
I got that one.
And and it was Picard Series 2.
So how many twos we got then? We got Roof. Roof's on 2. I got 2. Tyvikin's got 2. Stu Plum didn't get 2, but he got D. Are you getting all this, Sean?
Yeah, I'm going through it in the chat. Wookie technically answered D. I don't think he meant to because he was doing like a smiley face. But I mean, you possibly count that. I don't know.
You can count it. Yeah, you can count it. Okay, so that was that. That was still everyone but Stu Plum, wasn't it? So I think that's still right. And I'm spinning the wheel. Oh no.
Oh yes!
Oh no.
The pain.
Okay, that brings it back down to 0.
Well, we all lose points apart from Stu Plum. So, well done, Stu Plum, I guess.
Yeah.
The odds have been evened. When we suggested Wookiee get points, he said no in Darth Vader style. No.
Okay. No.
Okay. Right. Act 2. Screen 1. In the observation lounge, Data, Worf, and LaForge are reporting on their investigation into Galen's shuttle. They found that the Viridians were trying to steal files from a computer, and the evidence, and there is evidence that the professor had tried to protect certain files on the computer's memory. LaForge managed to put together some of those files, but cannot decode the meaning. The question of who the Viridians were obtaining the information for died with them. But you can see in this shot the data is sets of groups of numbers. Data tells Picard that Galen had just come from an unexplored star system, Rua 4, though it's 4 days away. Picard decides to screw the conference that he's supposed to attend and sets a heading for Rua 4. Captain's prerogative, I guess. Like, oh no, I can't do any of that. And then when he decides, it's just like, oh, well, I'm doing my own thing now.
Well, he does have the benefit of that guy being like the Federation's most foremost archaeologist.
Yeah.
He's just been attacked or seemingly attacked by another power, so he can investigate that.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's been a
Conflict.
murder, so I mean, you know, the evidence would be gone if you didn't investigate it there and then. So I suppose it makes sense to do that first.
Is that data looking like an alabaster dollop of whipped cream?
Yeah, look at that. Oh my, look at that. Yeah.
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 So they enter the system and they find a Class M planet that contains much plant and animal life, and even a sort of proto-hominid, but no signs of any ancient civilization or archaeology digs. So Data points out that before this shuttle visited this system, it was at Idri 8, a world devoid of any animal life, but much plant life. So they head there instead. Riker questions whether this is wise, using the Enterprise to undertake a wild goose chase across the galaxy whilst they have an ongoing diplomatic conference to get to, but Picard doesn't care. He's heading to Idri 8 anyway. Troy visits Picard in his ready room to check on his well-being. She finds him staring at the blocks of numbers from the professor's computer. She tries to convince him of his duties to the conference, and that he should not blame himself for what happened. But Picard kind of angrily comes back with that he doesn't have any remorse. He's not trying to absolve himself from any responsibilities. He's just trying to allow the professor's death to have some kind of meaning. He didn't die for nothing. And if they want to throw the book at him for that, then so be it. I thought he was pretty ruthless in that scene. He kind of like put
Bit her head off.
He put her out, put her in her place, didn't he? And went, I've got everything under control. I'm the captain here. Bow out.
She could have finished that going, you do know I'm half beta said, right? Just so you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you know. Okay, so
I'm only
that's a
saying
lovely
these things
speech.
because I'm getting them, Anyway. Yeah. Here's a shot of the Enterprise arriving at the planet. The Enterprise approaches Indri 8 and finds that some kind of plasma reaction is consuming the planet. Data reports that all life on the planet is being destroyed. And that is the end of Act 2.
Beta is looking so delicious this episode. I don't know if it's because we just had a dry spell, but whoever the person coordinating all the shots and everything, director for this episode, I'm loving you. The camera angles are right.
I think it's just because we haven't had much data shots recently, have we? There's been a few episodes where it's been very data dry. So, and with having some time off as well, you've been starved, haven't you? You've been starved. So, yeah.
The old thirst.
I could lick the screen, but I'm a sit here and not do that because I haven't dusted. So that wouldn't be so nice.
No.
So, question 2: What is consuming the atmosphere of Indri 8? A. Genesis device. B. Metreon cascade. C. Teleron pulse. D. Plasma reaction. E. Data's ding dong of non-organic matter.
Wow.
What?
Sean, that was
Yes?
a bit too coarse. That's a
Bit too
smart.
coarse. Okay.
I had to I can't even read that. And you saying that, I just would be like, no.
We found
This is a family show.
I don't think it is.
Me playing clips of my huge Android dong is perfect.
La.
And the bonus question: What did Picard say the Uridians were dealers of?
Yes. Have I got anything for this scene? I don't think I really have. No, there was thoughts of... there was a TOS episode called The Paradise Syndrome, where they came across an ancient civilization called the Preservers, who are thought to have started civilization in the galaxy, and they were toying with the idea of specifically linking the ancient aliens in this episode with the Preservers from TOS, but they decided to not do that implicitly and allowed people to guess that's what they were inferring in their own headcanons.
Just a small bit of trivia here. Professor Galen actor Norman Lloyd was 78 years old at the time of production, which was the oldest actor in TNG, in all of TNG. He lived to be 106. He's married to the same woman for 75 years. But obviously that 78 years, I don't know if that's all of Star Trek, but certainly Patrick Stewart has beaten him because I think he was 81 or something, or 82 doing Picard. So yeah, they're the fact.
We're surviving without Maz and Bob. Only just, but we're getting by.
Yeah. Set is the only female rank with a rank of gold mentioned or seen in any of the Star Trek. There we go.
Yes, there was thought that there is a lot of information in the Star Trek Companion and things to say that she was the first representation of a female Cardassian, but that's not true because we see in Chain of Command, I've forgotten what he's called, but the guy that tortures Picard, we see his daughter who's actually the first female Cardassian that we see.
Yeah, correct.
But but this is the first and only female Gull Cardassian that we see in the entirety of Star Trek in this episode. Okay, answers to the question, Sean.
So it was, it was D, some sort of plasma reaction. But I'll talk you through. You can talk me through the board. Genesis device. You must know where that's from.
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, Metreon Cascade. Do you know what that is?
I do. Oh, Metreon Cascade. That's really, really familiar. Is it?
So Neelix's moon.
Go on then.
Oh, okay. Neelix comes from a moon of Rhinax outside of the that orbits Talaxia, and it's kind of like the bomb on Hiroshima, and that and Nagasaki. The way they dropped a nuke and then they surrendered the next day. The Metreon Cascade, they blew up the moon, and then Talaxians surrendered. Tayloron pulse, you know what that is?
Yeah, Ruth knew it was Neelix's story from Voyager. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Also in the novel about his background that goes into more detail. Sorry, Tayloron pulse?
Tayloron.
From one of the films.
I know. Is it Insurrection?
Nope.
No.
They have the Briar Patch Cascade thing. That's not what it is.
No.
No, it's from Nemesis. It's the illegal biogenic weapon that destroys life.
That's it. Yeah. I've only seen that film a couple of times.
Yeah, it's not great. Tom Hardy is he's gone on to a great career, but
this wasn't good.
Surprised he got one after that.
Yeah.
It didn't tank him.
Yeah.
I didn't think his acting was bad. I didn't blame the actor. I just thought it was a poorly written script.
Oh, I know, but it was his first big film, and it didn't go well. So normally that tanks you for your career. So he got lucky. So he's obviously a good enough actor. He got over it.
Tabby Kids mixes Neelix up with Phlox from Dr. Phlox from Enterprise.
I can see why they're both the kind of comic relief alien characters.
She just sees all aliens as the same.
John Billingsley and Ethan Phillips. No,
Bruce gone. It's a bit racist.
No, the characters fill a similar niche.
I see what you mean. I do get what you mean. Yeah, they're a bit similar. Yeah, very funny. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. So, yes. That was it. You were going through the board, but you missed off E.
Oh, yeah. The Iridians are, what do you call it, information dealers, or knowledge dealers. They trade in information. Sorry, we have a wheel to spin. Do we have a wheel to spin?
Were you trying to prompt him to read that scandalous option?
I was being rude. Okay.
Bit of ding dong, no?
No, we don't want to walking through that. No.
No. Okay.
Okay, information dealers who I put info. Snoopum put info. I think Tavi said information dealers. And Reese said info. So we're all there. Oh, look, we're both red.
Tavi, Ruth, Monty.
Oh, let's shuffle them out. Okay.
Yeah, everybody got that.
I'm spinning the wheel. Oh, no.
Oh, yes!
At least it's all of us this time. I suppose there's that. Are we into the minus figures now? Yeah. Brilliant.
Love it.
You've got to get like an evil laughter sound in the background for that for Wookiee's thing.
Yeah.
Those boss laughters in video games that creep you out.
Yep. Today.
Resistance is futile.
Yep. Okay, Act 3. Because all the life on the planet was destroyed, the crew surmised that the number blocks might have something to do with biological matter. So Data proposes adding this data to the ship's computer, and maybe it will help find a match. Picard heads to the science lab to find out. I'm surprised he doesn't send Data to the science lab to find out. Because surely Data would be a lot quicker at doing that sort of thing. But
or given it's all his computer info, they just do it from the desk he's sitting at.
Yes, in the lab.
Or to the Science 1 and Science 2 at the back of the bridge.
Well, there's that. But they got this science lab set to use, so it looks cool. In the lab,
I know the moment. I know the moment is over, but when they use that plasma something reaction in the atmosphere, I don't feel like that would have been an instantaneous kill of all life form. Because there's water and stuff in there and different crevices. I honestly think if they had looked, they would have been like, "Oh, there's this cavern so miles below the sea level.
Oh yeah,
let's take a shuttle and just suck some of this water into the back."
Yeah, in caves sometimes they find caves that have been closed off in the world for 100,000 years. They find life in water, no light, nothing can close ecosystem. So it absolutely does happen on Earth that there's. And also, it shouldn't be possible to get a planet, no matter what the tech, that quickly, because the laws of physics don't allow for a wave to go at 30 times the speed of sound. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Even if that planet lost its entire atmosphere in that one go, it's like, it takes a while for everything to just die.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
as Ruth states, this episode what we needed there was a Genesis device to completely wipe the world and start afresh.
Pretty much.
So
there's a lot of logical flaws in this episode. Sorry, go on.
We're in the lab, and the computer finds that a number of patterns represent DNA patterns scattered across the quadrant. Dr. Crusher finds that there is uniformity across the base pairs of fragments. She gets the computer to match those fragments together, and it starts to build a model. It turns out to be some kind of algorithm, like some kind of computer program. That's weird. So the doc points out that one of the fragments is from life that began on Earth, and all the others are around the same kind of age. So someone wrote this program and scattered this genetic material around the galaxy around 4 billion years ago. It's quite amazing, though, isn't it, that they did that 4 billion years ago, and we've had, fish and dinosaurs and reptiles and whales and
so much life.
Crocodiles and...
What's kind of weird though? Not to mess up a lot of things, but you can even see the dinosaurs' resemblance to a certain someone who shows up in the very end. And so I was like, you can see it's there. And when they're talking about the different species on the planet, we're currently still looking for the last universal common ancestor. And I liked how this one played in very well that, that basically what they seeded, getting ahead of myself. What's in these diagrams here is an indication of a last universal common ancestor. So I like this episode for the sciencey bits.
We do know that anywhere on Earth we find water, we find life, and we also know that on Earth that every living being, from a bacteria or virus up to the more complex organisms, all have a common ancestor. So, there isn't a situation where there was multiple times where life came into existence on Earth. And it is posited that possibly it did come in on a meteorite from outer space. It is possible. But right now we do know that there was only one instance, as best we understand it, of life being created on Earth and everything coming from that one place. So it's not inconceivable to say that will be the same on other planets.
I just thought
And
it
they
was
say a
just
lot of- what am I trying to say? There have been like literally billions or trillions of different animal types on this planet stemming from our DNA. You know, from a banana to a whale. It just happens that the one that they meet looks proportionally, anatomically exactly the same as. I mean, if they'd come across a banana, it wouldn't have been such a good comparison, would it? With the same DNA, we look exactly the same, except for you're a banana. This is not quite the same. But it would be very anticlimactic at that point.
I did read before, about 80,000 or however long years ago was millions of years actually. There was a time where trees had evolved, but the bacteria to break them down hadn't. And this went on for hundreds of thousands of years, and all the coal in the world is from that period of time.
Millions of years.
Okay. Yeah, they kept just falling over and dying, but they didn't decompose. And basically all the coal and oil and natural gas in the world is that time period before bacteria evolved to eat it all. Yes,
that became the coal layer. Yeah. Yeah. Facts.
This is the nerd episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So yes, 4 billion years ago, Picard asked Data how many crew members are on board that are non-Federation planets. Data confirms there are 17. Beverly goes and collects DNA samples from them, and Geordi points out that one of the missing fragments must have been on Indri 8, and that's why it was destroyed, keeping them from finding a piece of the puzzle. Yes. Ruth is demanding a space fact, Sean. We delivered Earth facts, but we didn't deliver a space fact. So.
Okay. If the moon were to explode or go supernova, whatever you're having yourself, it would take 7 minutes for us to notice, because we are approximately 7 light minutes from 7 or 8. I think it's actually close to 8 light minutes from the sun. Pluto didn't complete a full orbit between being discovered and being declassified as a planet.
Yeah. Because its orbit's so long. How long is Pluto's orbit?
Yeah, it's 247 years or something like that. Yeah. And we only, after about 60 years, we classified and declassified it. So it never made an orbit.
Yeah, and we're 8 light minutes from the sun. Yeah. Actually, a photon of light from inside the core of the sun takes like thousands of years to make it from the core of the sun up through the different layers to get to the outer shell to be released into space. Takes thousands of years to actually get out, and then once it's out, it takes 8 minutes to get to Earth.
Neil deGrasse Tyson has a great piece on that, and it goes through all that effort just to only get bounced off your head and just stop dead.
That's right.
It's like how dare you? Your shadow is just killing them all.
How disappointing. Yeah, there we go. Space facts. Okay, so Picard realizes that the 4 billion euro computer program stored in the very fabric of life is going to be one of the most profound discoveries of all time, or one of the most dangerous. In Picard's ready room, they're not having much luck moving forward. Nothing was found on the crew members' DNA, and Picard's research has turned up nothing. But then Picard remembers Galen saying that he'd just been in that neighborhood of Kurlan, because that's why he gave him the Kurlanian gift, suggesting he was there collecting DNA. So looking through his pad, he finds one planet that supports life in that area, Loren 3. Beverly can't find a Loren 3 sample in the database, so Picard orders the Enterprise to head there at maximum warp. They enter the system and are immediately approached by 2 Cardassian warships. Gull Osset as we mentioned, the first female and only female Cardassian gull in Star Trek, warns Picard not to come any closer, or because there's 2 of them and 1 Enterprise, so it's outmatched and would be unwise. As they're at their standoff, then a Voyager-class Klingon battleship, the IKS Matha, decloaks, making the situation even more tense. And that is the end of Act 3. Question time.
Lovely. How many non-Federation crew members' DNA were sampled? A, 17, B, 27, C, 37, D, 47. And the bonus question, how many billions of years ago was the program coded? And the other thing I have is just another little plot hole that's killing me. They have 17 members of the crew and they don't have their DNA on file.
No, apparently not.
That was weird to me.
Like they don't just have your medical file on a Navy ship, well, a spaceship, whatever you call it.
I mean, like when I was in the military, when I didn't even get through basic training, it was like day 2 that you go in and you have to give like a certain amount of blood just to have your DNA on file in case they find your remains and they need to identify them.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
Yeah, it's just I could just drive a truck through all these plot holes.
They'd at least have it in the transporter logs, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah,
and they didn't even have the decency to show us a few of these 17 aliens that were from non-Federation worlds. I'm like, come on, I want to see those.
Yeah, and they can't just scan the database. All the non-Federation worlds. They just don't take a sample every time they go to a planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how you were able to be cared for by anybody in sickbay unless you already had that sort of info on file.
Yeah, I mean, I realize some races you'd know more than others, but someone like Saru comes on, you just won't have as much experience, but you'd still have to have a basic knowledge, that the medical officer would have to train themselves up a bit, to give you some chance of saving them, like know where their heart is in their body or whatever.
Yeah. Facts, I guess they were too stuck on the space facts for this one, and
they really like the idea that they really pushed for this story to go through because they really like the idea of explaining away why all the aliens of the week are human-looking people with bumpy foreheads.
Oh, that part is great. Just it could have used another 2 drafts just to tidy up all these little plot holes.
Yep.
Yeah. And they originally filmed it. It was too short, so there are quite a number of additional scenes that were filmed and didn't actually end up making the cut. One was with Mr. Mott, who's being tested by Dr. Crusher as one of the 17 crew members that don't have the DNA on file. But
this as well, because Bolians are Federation members, canonically.
Yeah. So they decided, because of that wasn't a good idea. So they binned that, but it's on the DVD or on the Blu-ray box set as a deleted scene.
But that even makes you think a little more. How would non-Federation planets be allowed to have their members join Starfleet? I thought
they cover that in Deep Space Nine. You have to be. You have to have a letter of recommendation from a senior officer, flag officer.
Oh, okay.
So, I won't ruin Deep Space Nine for you, but that does come up.
Okay.
Actually, it comes up in Voyager as well, because each ep goes to join, so it comes up in both.
Yeah.
Answers to the questions, Angel.
Yeah. So it was 17, and it was 4 billion years. So A and 4.
With the way your mind was working, I was expecting there to be an E, 69. But,
oh my goodness.
A and 4.
Am I the wholesome person tonight?
You're it, yeah. It's because Maz isn't here, that's why. And, the boys are misbehaving. So we got Stuplin with 4, Roof with 4, Monty with 4, and Tavi with 4. That's everyone with 4. All the 4s. In fact, shall I, just for a laugh, double it? Just to create a pretty wheel. You ready? Let's spin the wheel.
Tavi!
Tavi again? It's the Tavi and Wookiee night. Hold on, Tavi. At least you got some points. Here we go.
Mr.
Yes.
and Mistress.
Just change the rules on a whim there, Wookiee. I just changed the rules. As is my
Well, I mean, the laws of probability means it's basically the same.
It is the same, yeah. Just looked better, I thought. Looked a bit better. Looked more fun, more fun and fancy. Right, Act 4. No, Chewie, I'm on the internet. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to come and say hello, dear? Say hello, everyone.
Aww.
This is Chewie. Chewie, this is the internet. This is the internet.
Chewie, can he hear us? No, he can't. You're in the headphones.
He's trying to lick you. He's trying to lick you.
He probably can hear him because, I mean, even though the sound is quite small coming out of the earphones, I mean, the dog's hearing is supersonic. So yeah. How did she get on with the old fireworks?
Yeah, we haven't done fireworks yet this year. I mean, that's this weekend. So I think we're going to try to buy some quiet fireworks.
You don't do fireworks at Halloween. You do it on Guy Fawkes. Yes, that's
Guy
Fawkes.
I forgot that. Yeah. For some reason, we celebrate Parliament not being blown up, which is always a bit of a shocker.
Those Catholics up to no good as usual.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys
sorry. No. Technically speaking, fireworks are illegal here, but it's not that hard to drive to Northern Ireland and get them and drive them back. So they're everywhere.
Yeah. Right. So Act 4.
What have you guys done to make fireworks illegal?
I know.
I don't know. I really don't know the history of it. We just don't have fireworks here. All you can get is like sparklers. So you can get them illegally pretty easily, and you can get a license for them if you're doing like professional displays. But if you just want to buy a few screamers or whatever, no, you can't get them legally.
Yeah. You go to the local range shop here. We got a store called The Range. It's like a DIY.
Yeah, no, I've been to them. We actually have a few of them here. Yeah.
There's massive like fireworks counters, where they sell like massive boxes, like huge displays,
Yeah, as I said, there's some in Northern Ireland. If I was in Northern Ireland, I could pick them up, and there's no border control, so you can just bring them back. But they're technically illegal.
Yeah, Asda too. Yeah, that's a lot of fireworks. Yeah. Okay, right. Act 4. So Act 4 starts off with the captain's log, which explains that whilst talking to the Cardassians, a Klingon battlecruiser is decloaked in front of us. He says, I shit my pants, so I'm sending the dry cleaning to the Klingon captain. He might not have said that. Picard offers to hold talks on the Enterprise to find a way forward for all parties, and surprisingly, they all agree. The Cardassians try to pass their presence off as colonial research, but Picard lays all the cards on the table, saying, you know why we're here. The Cardassians have a sample from the planet below, but they're refusing to let anyone down there to get the one of them for themselves, and the Klingons have a sample from Indri 8, and then they destroyed the biosphere for it, so nobody else could get one. So that clears up what happened to that planet. The Klingons think the code will unlock some kind of ancient weapon, and they will not let anyone else possess it. Where the Cardassians claim that the Iridians told them that the information would unlock an unlimited power source. I like the way that her little spoon on her head is got makeup in it. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, I don't know if this episode came before the Sword of Stars one in Deep Space Nine, but certainly they repeat the same trick.
Say again?
There's an early episode of Deep Space Nine where 3 Cardassian women come to the station to set up a array to communicate between to the other side of the wormhole. I think it's called Sword of Stars. It's second season. Maybe I haven't got to that one yet, but it comes up pretty early.
I should have seen that one. But no, I like it. I presumed it was makeup as well because we'd seen the little girl and she's wearing a lot of makeup here. So I thought it was just makeup.
Yeah, I assumed it was makeup.
Yeah, I believe it is, yeah. Because sometimes you see him without it.
Picard proposes combining their knowledge together, as apart they only have a piece of the jigsaw, and they will never know the real answer. Picard proposes all the parties bring their samples on board the Enterprise, and they will all see the results together, and amazingly, everyone agrees. I don't know why they all just agreed to it. I mean...
Because he rolled a 20. When you roll a 20 for diplomacy, you just get it.
He just got it. He did, yeah. He did. He lucked out on that one. I just want to point out in this shot how bad Data's neck makeup is.
Oh, at the back of his head, yeah.
Looks like the back of his neck.
That looks like Marcel Marceau, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably got sunburn in the holodeck.
I don't know. They just didn't go to the effort of doing his makeup properly because he's only in the scene for a split second walk in, walk out. But then when you freeze frame it looks really bad. So we're back in the lab and they combine the samples, but they're still missing piece. They're still missing a piece. Picard surmises that whoever created it would want it to be found. So he gets the computer to look at the patterns in the model and extrapolate what's the missing bit would be. But this will take the computer some time, so they all go off about their business. The Klingon Nudak goes to 10 forward to meet Data.
One of the famous scenes.
Hearing of Data's strength, he challenges him to a bat coup, I guess it's koi, bat kwai. But Data defeats him easily with his android strength. Then, in frustration, he headbutts Data, but finds that Data's upper spinal support is polyalloy and most durable, and nearly knocks himself out. Then, I love that he goes like that, like he's a cat or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Don't know what he's doing there.
Yeah, it was like a good challenge or something like that.
Yeah. Nudak suggests that if he were to get the results first, this would be a great advantage to the Klingon Empire. And with Data's abilities, both with strength and mentality, he would go far in the Empire. Data surmises that he is being bribed, to which Nudak hastily denies and tells Data to never mind. And he wanders off.
I think it's funny that they just presume that a bribe would be something bad in different cultures. So it's like, why would you do anything without any sort of incentive? We just decide to call it a bribe. How do you know on another planet and culture that it's just not, oh no, this is your compensation?
It's pay.
Like a regular contract. Like, what's the difference?
My company bribes me to go to work every day.
Yeah.
Those bastards.
Yeah, you go to the job interview. Why do you like this job? Because I enjoy not being homeless and being able to eat.
If you come here and do all this stuff, it's less likely you're going to.
So how do you see this job going? You'll pay me and I'll do shit for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think
I like that, Tammy.
I don't understand. Why you're asking questions?
Why are you asking this question? This is not how every job goes.
I love the way Tabby just put it, though. You know, like when you go for a job interview, it'd be like, you know, if you come do these little tasks for me, I'll give you, like, you know, some green. Oh. What do you think?
You see what
Yeah. Anyway, so we go into engineering, and LaForge discovered somebody tampering with their systems, and he informs Picard. In the lab, I'm also surprised how easy it is for, like, you know, people to just come aboard the Enterprise and just hack into their defense systems, and, you know, it's no. You think they'd be a little bit more sus to that by now?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they could. All you'd have to do is just find some sort of system that hooks into things, I guess. I mean, in your room, if you just take the replicator apart and shove some stuff in there, or you walk down a hallway and no one's paying attention and someone's like, all right, sneak into that Jeffries tube and see if you can wiggle through there. I don't know.
But you think the computer would be monitoring them all the time?
In this with his neck makeup.
You can still see the line, look.
Yeah, the line of demarcation. They must have ran out. That's what that's at it.
Yeah.
Or he did get sunburned in the hollow deck, and he's simulating that experience.
It's just in the lab scenes, so they must have shot all the lab scenes at the same time, and it's not in like the 10 forward scene or the bridge scenes. It's just the lab scenes. So whatever day they did the lab scenes in, he didn't quite get his makeup finished.
You think they would have touched that up? Oh. You could Photoshop that in pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was designed to be watched on, you know, 360p square blocky CRT monitors. You know, we're watching these 4K high scale up-res slow still images. It's it really wouldn't have been obvious in 95 or 92 for that matter.
So we're in the lab, and the computer's now finished its work, and the location of the missing piece will be found in the Ram-Izad system. Girl Osset immediately beams to her ship, and fudge and fudge cakes. Picture. Go Osset immediately. There's a good. It was quite a good freeze frame on the beam effect there, I thought. Go Osset immediately beams back to her ship, which then fires upon the Enterprise and the Klingon cruiser. And that is the end of Act 4. Wake up, Sean. Question time, Sean. Question time.
Sorry, I'm just going to say I like the they use the correct DS9 beaming effect.
Yeah, I really like the way it looked, yeah.
Which Klingon ritual did Naduk challenge Data to? A. Baktkul, B. Hegbat, C. Mekba, D. Kalhya. And
Your pronunciation was a lot better than mine.
No, not particularly, but I will say they're all real. They've all been shown. I can't remember what all of them are, but I know which one's the right one. And to which nacelle did the bird of prey take damage? So it's a 50-50 shot on that one. It's either a starboard or a port.
I take Humbridge for this question.
Mm-hmm.
There's no bird of prey in this episode.
Oh, the Negvar, the Klingon ship, yeah.
The Vorta class battle
Vorta class, yes, that's what it is. Yeah. The Klingon ship.
The Klingon ship. Okay, right. I'm with you. Okay. That's a good question, Sean. I don't know the answer, so I'm going to completely guess. I know the answer to the first one, so I can give that one. And I'm going to go just a random.
don't think I wrote anything in my notes.
So there we go. Have I got any other?
You have a 50-50.
Got to phone a friend.
Or you could play some game theory here, but I won't say any more than that.
What? Okay, hold on. Let me just remember where they were.
Oh, you mentioned about the Deep Space Nine Cardassian transport effect. That's good.
Which one is port? Is port left or right?
Port is left. Starboard is right.
Okay.
Port has 4 letters. Left has 4 letters. That's how you remember.
Okay.
This episode was the first episode to mention one of Deep Space Nine's sister stations, Deep Space 4. Mm-hmm. And this episode reveals that we mentioned before that there are 17 people on board the Enterprise from non-Federation planets. There we go. Okay. Should we...
And you know,
go on.
we know there's more than one Bolian because we've seen more than one Bolian barber. So when they say 17, it might only be 16 species. They never clarify that.
No, there could be like 100 people on board of 17 different species.
Or maybe it's 70 species.
17 Bolians. I don't know.
But Picard asks how many non-Federation, and he says 17, but they don't specify how many races they are.
No, could have been 3. Who knows?
Yeah, very, very possible. Sorry. Yeah, well, we might as well go on to questions. I think we have everybody. Yeah, so it's A back to Cool, and it was the starboard nacelle. And Tavi, I don't know if you were playing game theory, but if you had answered starboard, you would have put yourself in a 50-50 with Wookiee. So well played for saying port, because at least that way you avoided the spin. But I think,
I would have loved being in a show off with Wookiee. Can we do it anyway?
Well, I mean, if everyone gets it wrong, you can put everyone on the board if you want.
No, I just want to see what would happen if we had a showdown with Wookiee. Oh, if everyone gets it wrong and Wookiee's on there, can we roll for Wookiee to actually get points?
No. We stress Wookiee out if he actually got points. We can't be doing that. So, unfortunately, it is just everybody's off. It's just Wookiee. That's what it would look like. But
we'll give it a roll.
I can give it a roller. I wonder who's going to win. I like the way it actually nearly landed on the name as well. That would have been good.
It actually awarded a winner.
Yeah, to Wookiee. Wookiee's the winner. So well done, Wookiee. You did win. We just spun that and won that for you, just as a matter of course.
If there were a version of the different like princesses in certain galaxies, she would definitely look like a Cardassian Star Trek princess right now. So the glitters. She's so pretty.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yeah. Right. Have you got those answers down, Sean? Do you know?
Yep.
You've got it all. Well done. I'm pretty impressed, I have to say. You're doing very well. You're doing very well.
Well, I haven't used the progressive scoring. I'm just using simple scoring to make it easy on myself. But Tavi and Stu are tied for 40, and yourself and Ruth are tied for 20.
Marvellous.
Who's tied with me?
Stu.
Stu Plum.
Stu Plum.
Oh.
Okay, so the Cardassians head off, firing as they leave, and Will orders inertial dampeners to be turned off to make it look like they've been disabled, and they get buffeted about a bit. Here's the bridge being buffeted about. I'm not quite sure why turning off inertial dampeners would give the Cardassians a greater impression that they've been disabled, but there you go. It does the trick. Yeah. Nudak contacts his ship to find out that it's actually being disabled, as they didn't get ready in time, and he's really upset with them. So he agrees to go along with the Enterprise. As it turns out, the information they gave the Cardis was incorrect. The star system they actually need to go to is the Vilmoran, and Picard orders a course set at Warp 9. They arrive and Data scans all the planets and finds no life whatsoever. However, then he finds that Vilmore 2 has a dried up ocean that once supported life. And as they get closer, Data detects lichen growing in small pockets on the seabed. See, his neck looks fine now on the bridge. It's all fine.
No more sunburn.
Picard, Beverly, Worf, and Nudak beam down and locate where the lichen might be. But then the Cardassians arrive. And then the Romulans arrive, who have been stalking them the whole time. As we said earlier. Yeah, as we said earlier, it's the sort of obvious use of the Planet Hell set, looking quite Planet Hell-y.
Well, they use different angles and lighting. I think they make a good effort of trying to hide it, so it's not as obvious.
No, I don't know about that, Chief.
I never knew that they were using the same set until you guys brought it up. So I think they did a pretty decent job.
There you go.
People who aren't paying enough attention. I was looking at Data, so you know.
Yes. Goal set threatens to disintegrate all the lichen if the Romulans take one step. I like the way they did get everybody shuffled together in for this shot look, so it's all nicely framed.
I also like the way every bit of life on the planet is dead, but somehow there's still breathable air.
Yeah. And there's this whole seabed. You imagine they'll find lichen in other places, not just this one patch. But I like this is... So whilst they're all bickering, Crusher and Picard search the seabed itself, the fossilized seabed, for life just under the surface, because there may be still organic material locked up in that rock that may contain DNA. I like as Beverly's like scraping the rock. That's her like innocent face. I'm not doing anything honest, gov. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum face. That we've seen a couple of times before.
Yeah, and she has to scrape it into a thing and then place it into the tricorder. Can they not just shove the tricorder against the wall and save some steps?
Yeah, smush the tricorder into the wall.
Yeah, beep.
Yeah, like a barcode scan. Beep. And wouldn't you know it, they find some DNA. And once it's scanned into the tricorder, the program starts reconfiguring the tricorder into some kind of projector. Wookiee says, women pull that face when they're holding a fart back. Is that what it is? I'll bear that one in mind.
Not too far off.
So then a founder-looking woman appears and tells them how they realized they wouldn't survive on the cosmic time scale, so they seeded their DNA in the primordial oceans all over the galaxy. And that's why all the aliens look like their form. All living things are a moment to their existence. She ends her speech with asking them to remember there is something of each new in everyone else. And then she vanishes. And
very stylish shoes. You know they were advanced people. Look at the point on those.
You wouldn't want to be kicked by would you? Yeah, it's a founder.
How does the protection of light cast a shadow?
I don't know. It's a very clever tricorder, you know.
Apparently.
They never know. No, the changelings could actually be one of the closest relatives to these things, but on the planet that they were on, solid form wasn't the way they evolved.
She certainly looks like a founder.
Yeah, she looks like the actress who plays a founder, whose name I won't say because there may be a question on it.
Oh, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say because I don't know the answer, so that'll be fun in a minute.
Fair enough. Okay. But she went on to play the female changeling, yeah.
She did. I don't know, that's what... The makeup kind of looks similar. And, of course, her being the same actress, it just really... it's confusing. It confuses me now looking back at it because I'm just like, it's changeling. It's not. But anyway, so after this speech, everyone's disappointed. The Klingons the most disappointed, wondering why they bothered with all this palaver. He says if she were not dead for 4 billion years, he would have killed her. And they all been back to their respective ships. In Picard's quarters, Beverly and Picard are discussing how the professor...
No one else figured out that they were all relatives?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
No, I was just thinking that it was difficult for these people to figure this out when relatively around the same time, the entire galaxy was seeded with this stuff. Everyone should have realized, hey, just for their own natural history, that we were all seeded about so-and-so billion years ago. That happened at the same time. It relatively takes about the same time when they've run in simulations for organisms to get from primordial soup to civilization. So it's like, okay, no one noticed that. Okay, well, carry on.
It's also quite it gets around the whole. I've forgotten what the equation for it's called, but there's like a mathematical equation on the chances of there being intelligent life in the galaxy, and it goes that when you calculate like the age of the stars and the time scale of the galaxy, that there's a greater likelihood that there's only maybe 1 or 2 to a handful of intelligent civilizations in the galaxy at any one time. There'd be like millions over the lifetime of the galaxy, but at any one time, because they come so fleetingly, that they pass each other in the night kind of thing, you know? When one dies off, another one springs up in another part of the galaxy type thing. But not at the same time.
You look at,
but this is quite nice in that this whole concept of this alien race seeding all the planets at the same time, they all kind of sprung to life at the same time. All the flowers bloomed at the same time, which explains why in this sort of version of our galaxy, it's completely populated by lots of bipedal aliens.
I was just going to say, like, our own planet is about 4.5 billion years old. I think the universe is 16 billion or 12 billion, something
14.
like that.
No,
14, sorry.
13.8.
13.8, yeah. But they reckon now through the James Webb telescope that they discovered that it's actually a little bit older than they thought.
Oh, no.
But nonetheless, our planet is 4.5 billion years old or something like that. And we have only had the ability for radio, the ability to detect signals from other planets for about 150 years of those 4.5 billion. So how many 1% of 1% of 1% is that? Yeah. And will our civilization still be here in 100 years?
The Drake equation. Thank you, Wookie. Yes.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Anyway, this quite nicely gets around that. It's just I quite like it. I guess this alien race, then these our forebearers, they didn't have any kind of prime directive thing. They saw primordial soup happening in all these planets and thought we could let them grow to be whatever they should be, but no, we'll just stamp our DNA across the galaxy and just have all these planets just come up with clones of us instead.
Well, I mean, like, if you think about it, they wouldn't have a reason for the prime directive because sadly they were all alone. They were the first and they realized it. And all they saw were just puddles of water everywhere. And they're like, let's throw some seeds everywhere and maybe we'll get the party started.
Yeah. And
it's strange that they didn't refer back to this point in the
prime directive is a lesson learned the hard way.
Yeah. But
by mistakes.
It's funny that they don't show a look back at this episode in the finale of this entire show, because it would have been so weak continuity the moment that Q took Picard back to the moment in time where the primordial soup was bubbling, and there was actually a bunch of like original species people walking around dumping stuff in the water instead of it just being him standing there and watching some bubbles go. And I'm like, no, it would have been, because they were like, this is the moment in which this pool of water created the life that would turn into mankind. I was like, shouldn't there be some people around here? Or did they do it remotely from space?
Yeah. And
but it would have been so sweet.
But luckily this alien race didn't do like the what's that aliens film, Prometheus, like the Prometheus aliens, and decide to terminate their own experiment type thing.
I read before that if you send out, different colonies out into space, the groups you send out will eventually, because they're the type to go to planets and colonize them, will eventually end up fighting for resources. Because the type of being that wants to explore and settle new places is the type of being that will fight over, good lands. So it's almost inevitable you'll end up creating conflicts between them just by the nature of the fact they're going out and exploring instead of being insular.
Well, I mean, that's a very like tunnel vision of it, because a lot of our species, there are several of our species who are just very curious but non-violent. So it just happens to be, what are the odds that your species is a more docile one? And this original species, they may not have had any reason to evolve in such a way to where they needed to be aggressive. They may not have been a prey species on their planet. They may have been just fine. So that behavior
they could have been dodos.
Yeah, so they would have never thought, hey, if I put all these things out here, that sooner or later I'm just going to have a bunch of squabbling kids. Or maybe they're just like regular parents, like, oh, we're going to have some nice kids and it's going to be great and they're going to play together. And then you get, Mommy, and then it's just, you're like, this was not how I pictured this would be.
Why? Why didn't I just get a BMW? I mean, it would have been cheaper. Yeah. Anyway, in Picard's quarters, Beverly and Picard discuss how the professor would have really appreciated the outcome of this investigation, and Beverly congratulates Picard for pushing through and solving the puzzle. Picard is sorrowful that the message they discovered fell on deaf ears, but then he receives a message from the Romulan captain, who tells Picard that it would seem they are not so different after all. And maybe one day. Picard agrees, one day. And it leaves Picard with at least a glimmer of hope that one of his fellow explorers got the message. And that is the end of the episode. It's the last question time of the day.
Okay, so who portrayed the progenitor? Portrayed? Yes, I meant that. Portrayed. In this episode. That middle question mark I also meant. A. Salome Jens. B. Renee Auberjonois. C. J.G. Hertzler. D. Amanda Plummer. And the bonus question, and this is a wild one. Which TNG character, or guest character, appeared in last week's Lower Decks episode for the first time since TNG, played by Robert Duncan McNeil?
Oh, bloody hell, I've forgotten his name already. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, spoilers for Lower Decks, but that was quite the twist.
And it was played by him as well, which I was surprised.
Yeah. Did they have him back? He's the only person. Well, is he the only person in Lower Decks to play two characters? I think he is. Very possibly. Or two. Well, I suppose there's probably some guest voices, background voices to do more than one because it's animation.
Smile a Rainbow, tell me what his name was. I can't remember. It's not Jack, is it? No.
It's not Tom Paris, I'll tell you that.
I know it's not Tom Paris. It's a guy that caused the accident in the cadets.
No, it's not Jack. You're thinking of Cito Jaxo, who's the other person
not
from
him.
Nova Squad mentioned.
No.
It's not the stunt, the cadet.
Yeah, it was a cadet. Yeah.
The cadet who did the stunt, who ran the Culver on Starburst, the stunt.
Yeah, the Tom Paris
back in our
guy.
next-
What was he called?
Yeah, the guy is not Tom Paris.
The not Tom Paris cadet.
The guy
that led
played by
his
Tom
team.
Paris is not Tom Paris.
Yeah. We all know who it is. We just don't know his name.
He's so despicable. Why would we
Okay,
remember his name?
since I'm not seeing any answers, I'll give the initials. It's NL.
I recently threw out all of the big pile of notes from previous episodes I'd watched, and I'm like, I'm not going to need these again.
Yeah, well, if you had the first duty notes, the answer would be there.
Nathan?
I would have.
Not Nathan, no.
Neil?
Oh, we have an answer in the chat.
Oh, that was it. Lacano. God damn it. Well done, Smiler. Smiler can have some points. Oh, and Ruth's got Nick. Nick Lacano. Yes. God damn it. My brain just wouldn't work. Yeah. Wookie says, what scientists call panspermia seeded many worlds. He put the seeds for life on each planet on a timer so that all things would evolve to be equal and similar for this current timeline.
Panspermia sounds like a party with Data.
Yeah. So that would mean then the founder looking woman that she's our god. I guess.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Yeah.
She
Closest relative.
She's the cloister.
She's the cloister.
So, yeah. Nobody tell Tavi what that's a reference to. She has it in. We've hit that bingo number already. Anyway.
We're gonna go to Fushal.
Okay, so I'm going to I'll give it in. So yeah, it was A. Salome Jens. Does anyone want to tell me what Renee Auberjonois, J.G. Hertzler, and Amanda Plummer have in common?
Renee is Odo.
Renee is Odo. J.G. Hertzler is Martok.
He had another role.
Amanda Plummer
last.
is the bad person in Picard season 3.
Yeah, and what race was she in Picard season 3?
She was a human, wasn't she?
No, she's a changeling. They all play changelings.
Oh,
J.G. Hertzler,
yes,
you think of as playing Mardrok, but he played a character called Laz in one episode of season 6 or season 7 of DS9 called
and of course,
Chimera
Odo was
Chimera.
a changeling.
Yeah,
and Saloma played a changeling. They're all changelings.
They're all changelings.
I got it, Sean. They're all changelings.
And if you go to, I think it's Switzerland, if you go to Geneva, there's a René Auberjonois place, because apparently his grandfather was a famous painter by the same name. So you can go to his, so there's another random fact that's completely nothing to do with anything. All right, who did we have? Go on, sorry.
Now I gotta go look for bingo again, darn it.
Okay, so how many A's did we have? We have Monty for an A. Yeah, Stu for an A. Tammy put in an A. Okay. And
we only had.
Those are all the.
We had Smiler and Ruth. Ruth got Nick.
Yep.
So we'll give her that.
We'll have to go. We'll have to go with that. Yeah.
Should we double it to give him more? There we
Triple.
go.
Why not?
Make it more colourful. Ready?
Oh, do it.
Well done, Smiler.
Isn't this the first one she's answered extra for?
Yeah, I think that's the first time she's entered in an extra answer, and I think that's the first spin. It's the first time she's ever been on the spinner, and she won.
Smiler, grab a lotto ticket on her way home and a few scratchers.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Okay, so just cheered.
we heard that.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I'm getting bingo tallied up. I'm almost done.
So yes, Sean, if you make sure you got your scores totted up, and then bingo is now closed.
Yeah.
Tavykins is totting up the bingo. I'm just going to grab the spreadsheet. Because think about it, this is episode 20. We've only got 6 episodes left this season. We're nearly there. Right. Just quickly, reception. So, the reception of this episode. Jonathan Frakes remarked that the speech that Saloma made at the end would have made Gene Roddenberry very proud, he thinks. It's a great, wonderful, thought-provoking speech. Rick Berman, though, was not overawed with the finished episode. He thought conceptually it was very interesting, but he thought it had some problems dealing with the whole idea and that kind of like prehistoric creatures who are the father of us all. It's taken a long time to get to us, and he didn't think the concept really worked.
He's an idiot.
This episode first previewed in the 1993 Starfest convention in Denver, Colorado, to favorable reaction.
Well, if you go into a hall at a con and you show them an episode that hasn't been on telly yet, you're going to get a favorable reaction. It doesn't matter if it's Shades of Grey. People are just going to go wild. That's just how cons go.
Yeah. The production staff said that this was the most Roddenberry-esque TNG episode of the later TNG era. Yeah. I can see that. I can kind of see that.
Bingo's in.
Right then. Bingo's in. So Ruth got 5, Tavi got 10, Andrew got, I can't quite see, I think it's 5, and Monty got 5 and Smiler got 5. Wow, we got a lot of points on the board there for bingo this week. Yeah. So adding them all that in, and Sean, what do we get?
I have no idea how to do the scoring. I only was counting the core. So what, you got 5? Sorry, you said?
Ruth plus 5, Tavi plus 10, Andrew plus 5, I'm plus 5, and Smiler's plus 5.
Yeah. Okay, well, that puts, I don't know how to do this in scores.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, sorry.
The first place gets 10 points, second place, and it just goes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Stu gets 10 points.
Well done, Stu Plum. Hang on, so that's 1 for... Oh, let me just share my screen.
Hold on for a second.
It's
been a long time coming. Stu!
Yeah, but Stu is... Okay, no, it doesn't affect you. Oh, you just come up on you a bit, but you're still number 1. Tavi, 9 points.
9 points for Tavi.
I'm trying to keep Ruth off of my heels.
Yeah, well, you scored above us. So.
Monty and Ruth are joint 8. 8, excuse me.
8 points. 1, 7, and 1, 1.
And Smiler comes in with 7, which is still impressive given that you missed out most of the episode.
7.
No, Andrew.
What about Andrew? Does Andrew come below that? 6th.
Andrew? I didn't even get any Andrews.
Yeah, he got some bingo points.
Okay, we'll just have to put him in a 5 because I didn't even see his scores.
6,
Sorry, there's a reason.
2.
There's a reason why Mazza does this usually. Jeez.
No, I think we got there. That was it, I think. Yeah. And I'll just do a quick reordering just in case there was any. Haven't done this in a while. There's a couple of shufflings about there. Smiler Rainbows overtaken Mr. Tavikins. And Andrew's overtaken Karen. So there we go. Smiler, you're heading to the top, my love. You're heading to the top. So start thinking about what you give this episode out of 10. From 0 to 10. How would you rate this episode? Put your scores in chat, all you people out in live chat world, and we'll come up with our scores here.
Talk about the episode.
And then we'll have a little discussion about the episode, and then we are done for the day. Are we ready for our scores?
I am.
Stuplum, Roof, Wookie, Smiler, what would you give this episode out of 10? Put your scores into live chat. And I should offer my congratulations to Stuplum for winning the quiz this week. So well done, Stuplum.
I think we need an applause clip for that.
Oh, we do. Well done, Stuplum. There we go. We're still not getting any scores. We're going to have to do our scores first. Okay, then. 5.
Is there something wrong with... Okay.
4.
Oh, Stu was it with an 8?
3. 2. 1. 0. 10.
Oh, a 10.
10. There must have been a bit of data in it, I think. 6 and 10 and 6. And we'll wait for an average.
8 and a 6 rounds out to a 7.
We got 7, yeah. And Wookie's a
and
7.
Wookie for a 7, so still 7.
So
yeah.
that's still 7. Smiler's not giving us anything. But we'll go with a 7 for now. We can always change it if we haven't got any scores from Mazza and Bob yet, so it's a bit down.
We'll leave that for next week.
But we'll have to readdress it next week and make sure we get Mazza and Bob's score in there as well. But at the moment, it's probably looking to be an average episode, bumped up maybe a little bit by one weighty score. Oh yes, 7 from Smiler Rainbow.
How dare you say weighty? What?
Weighty. It's quite a weighty score there. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so
it just had too many plot holes for me.
this is the joint top with Fistful of Datas. I don't know what the commonality of your scoring is, but why a maximum 10, Tabbykins?
I don't know. This one gave me maximum 10 because it gave me that like quintessential Star Trek feel in what they were trying to do with the episode. And I did enjoy the episode despite the plot holes, which is hard to do. It didn't pull me too far out of the illusion of the show. And it was exciting to see Klingons, Cardassians, and Romulans added to this. You got to see some background from Picard and more of the interplay in between characters, just an up and down. And it, like the ending of it, I don't know if I'm guessing it wasn't so impactful for everyone, but just it like hit me in the feels when she was doing, like, every time I watch this episode, to see this one sweet woman who's left behind and having to understand in that short speech who she was and what happened to her. And to think that you're this creature, like even we ponder this now on Earth. Are we the only ones out here? Is it just us? And we are endlessly looking at the stars, probing and trying to get out there in this desperation. But what if we got to a point in space where we realize, no, it's just us. We're going to last maybe this long if we're lucky. And then whoever comes behind us might not even know traces of us. They might be a different species and not even notice the signs that we existed. What if they're like super earthworms?
You've basically described the fable of Ozymandias or Ozymandias. I don't know how you pronounce that exactly, but basically he left a big plaque and he goes, "I left this big plaque to show you my huge empire. Look at it and weep at how great I am." But basically, all that was left was the plaque, because the rest of the empire just wilted. And ultimately, in 1,000 years, what does it matter? It's pretty much the point. You can be Genghis Khan, you can be, Xi Jinping, you can be president of America. Sooner or later, life's gonna move on. So
Yeah. So just knowing that it's been washed away and that it's been gone for billions and billions of years, it's this bittersweet sting to it. It's almost like saying we don't know if we're gonna make it, but we'll put our children out there, and maybe our children will make it, and maybe they'll meet each other. Just like even from like a parent standpoint, never seeing the future, never seeing what became of your lineage, and just peacefully resigning yourself to oblivion.
I'm sure if you go back 6 or 8 or 10 generations, your ancestors would have thought very much the same about you.
Yeah. So it's just, I thought it was very beautiful, and very sad at the same time, because they are so far gone. And then what was even more heartbreaking was that the children didn't even care. They didn't care, not one bit. When you look at how the rest
Picard
of
cared.
the episodes go. Well, Picard cared, but that didn't mean anything. It didn't even mean anything in the Federation. It's not like you ever heard them again talking, be like, look, why are we fighting? We're from the same parent, or from, so I mean, you're sitting there with the Cardassians and all these other creatures, and none of them, it's almost like that speech the first astronaut gave when he was looking back on Earth from the moon, and he wanted to grab every politician and force them out there to look at it and say, look down at that, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the Carl Sagan pale blue dot speech, I think is what you're referring to there. Yeah.
No, it's an astronaut one. It's an astronaut who went to the moon. He went to the moon for the first time, and he was describing how seeing this small, fragile Earth of ours with its limited resources, and you stop seeing boundaries because they disappear from nations, and he wished that he could drag every politician out in space to look down on it. I'm
fairly sure it's Carl Sagan, but
it's an astronaut.
I could be wrong.
Nice duplum, and it's a bit like I quite like. There's a podcast on YouTube called the Fall of Civilization podcast, and it's they're quite long documentaries about the fall of a particular civilization, like the fall of the Mesopotamian Empire, or the fall of the Roman Empire, or the fall of the of ancient Egypt, and it's quite interesting to see how these things rise up and how great and grand they become, and how they're all now essentially dust. It's a bit like what you were saying,
There was a thing when the Roman Empire fell, it left such a power vacuum that all the abbeys got plundered and all the good books got ripped asunder, and they weren't kept, by the monks and everything. And all the writings and stuff got lost. And, when a new ruler come in, the first thing they do is burn the libraries, that was the traditional thing. But because Ireland was on the periphery of Europe, and we basically weren't exposed to that power vacuum, A, a lot of the monks and stuff fled to Ireland, and B, any books we'd copied were just kept well. So a lot of the European history from, the Dark Ages 1,000 years ago 1,200 years ago were kept in Ireland just by pure luck, because everywhere else, because they knew back in the day the only way to make sure a document was survived was to make loads of copies of it, and the ones that made it to Ireland survived and the ones that made it to everywhere else didn't. So it's kind of part of the whole stand of saints and scholars thing comes from, is that we just managed to preserve the history. Just the way it worked out.
Yeah.
The astronaut was Edgar Mitchell.
Yes.
And he said, you want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, look at that, you son of a bitch.
Okay.
For some reason, Wookie wants me to host next week's show in a Hoth Bacta tank. One of those...
might have some audio issues.
Like healing tanks in Star Wars, where they float about in goo.
Underwater, yeah.
Yeah, underwater, basically. With like a breathing mask. I mean, it might be a little difficult. I haven't got one for a start. That's the first problem. They don't exist in real life. That's the second one, really. That's the other problem.
I can't imagine the audio would be good, or you'd be able to, host and manipulate a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, it'd be difficult.
Suspended in a liquid container. It'd be a bit of work.
You'd have to have one of those Bane masks on from Batman, and you're just like, good evening, everybody.
And we're back to Tom Hardy.
Yeah, back to Tom Hardy.
No task is at hand when the mission is at hand.
Whilst wearing space nappies as well. Yeah, that's a look for you. Yeah, I'll look like a pickled whale. Right.
I don't want pickle. I think I'm gonna have a pickle after this.
Yeah. So I gave it a 6. Which is possibly one of my lowest scores. My second lowest score this season, which is maybe unfair. I felt a little unfair, really, putting it down as a 6. I think maybe I should have put a 7, but for me it was the plot holes, and just the things that were left unresolved. I just felt the story seemed so grand. Like the concept is so like, oh my god, this is where most of the intelligent life in the galaxy spawned from. We're all related. It's kind of like a defining thing of Star Trek, isn't it? This is like, this is like in Doctor Who when we found out the Doctor wasn't from Gallifrey in the last series, and it's like kind of like,
oh, let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, let's pretend that didn't happen. But you know what I mean? It's a big deal, isn't it? It's a big deal for this galaxy, right?
Universe. Yeah.
For this universe.
And then they double.
And I just feel that the episode doesn't.
You couldn't retcon it.
I just feel that this episode doesn't give gravitas to the story. It's a bit like Game of Thrones series 8, where suddenly everything happened in an instant. They traveled across the galaxy. It's like, how long is it going to take to get to this star system? It's going to take us a week or whatever. And then it's like you're on the bridge and they're there. I just feel it's an episode that I think maybe because I've been spoiled with modern series having stories that span entire seasons. It just felt like it could have been a thread of a season-long arc. Maybe season 6, they should have had this running in the background for the entire season.
Yeah.
And you picked up points during the season, do you know what I mean? In the background as a B plot. And eventually at the end of the season, you found out this big thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica kind of did a lot of that, kind of threading things along, and just slowly. They had an episode of the week, but they always pushed the plot elements along a little bit. Actually, in Doctor Who, particularly under Russell T Davies, was fantastic at that.
Yes.
Just teasing you a little and bringing it along, and just
had these little thread stories as well as the individual monster of the week thing.
Sometimes it's just a line or a sign in the background or something, and it just builds something bigger. And then at the end, you get it, and you can go back and reverse it, and you see it all. It's so obvious. But when you're watching it, you just don't know, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad Russell T is back. Doctor Who's going to be amazing again. Thank
Fingers
God.
crossed. I'm praying.
It hasn't been good for 6 years.
I will put my TARDIS back on my shelf if it's good. Then I'll even right. And this is saying if it comes back and it's good, I'll even get a TV license again and watch the BBC.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's saying something. That is. Anyway, so that's why I gave it a 6. It just didn't quite, for me, hit the mark. It just was a bit bland. Even though it had other ships in it, it had ship battles, they travelled all over the galaxy, they went down to a planet. It had all the ingredients that I should have loved, but for some reason I was just a little bored. I don't know why.
Yeah, it could have been an 8 or a 9 episode. It just wasn't. Quite simply, it just wasn't. It was, just too many plot holes. Way too many. For Trek Season 6, they needed to be better than that, and they just weren't.
Wookie says he's got a friend that owns one of the TARDISes that was used in the 60s. Wow.
Nice. Well, I did mention this buying a house. It will have a big garden, so potentially there could be a shed in a TARDIS shape at the end of it. You never know.
A blue shed.
Why not? The couple of sheets of plywood cut up the right way very much would make a fun little addition to a garden. Yeah. So
did you actually
possibly something I could do? You would? No, but it's sale agreed. There's a couple of more steps, so it's kind of it's non-committing at the moment. Basically, we've agreed a price, but there's a couple of more steps. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And it's the wrong time of the year to be buying a house because it's coming up to Christmas. Irish people have this obsession with buying a house just before Christmas. So 70% of the houses close in the last 2.5 months of the year. They just have this idea they have to be in the house for Christmas. So you're coming up against these huge backlogs. Anyway, look, it's kind of, let's say it's 60% of the way there.
I just think once you've got sale of agreed in your head canon, you bought a house, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we've agreed to buy a house unless something gets in the way. So at the moment, we've both agreed to sell it for a price. It's just a matter of going through the formalities, but the formalities could derail it potentially.
I'm very excited for you, Sean. Are you going to have a spare room?
Sorry?
Are you going to have a spare room, like a guest room?
Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom house. And an office, which I'll be able to. I won't be in this big echoey room that's massive anymore. And you're getting bad audio. I'll have a proper small office with sound dampening and proper lighting and everything else. So,
are you excited or more nervous? How's it making you feel?
Yeah, I'll be able to get a dog. That'll be fun. And some cats. Why not? We'll see. Anyway, it came in at a good price. It needs a lot of work, but thankfully the money's there. So, it should be a bit of fun. We'll see.
I definitely recommend getting a dog. Dogs are great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't have a dog when you're renting and moving around. When you have your own place, you can. So, I mean, I've had dogs in the past, but not for 20 years. So, I'd like to have a dog again.
Well, I'm very excited for you, Sean. This is going to be the start of an interesting chapter for you. It's going to be great.
The beard is out.
I'll keep you informed.
We'll get to watch the new YouTube studio grow,
to slowly put it together and get everything in order. And as I said, I have a small room, just the right size for a studio / home office. So here's open.
Very cool.
Yeah, still live. Still come on over though.
Is that Mr. Tavikins?
Mr. Beard?
Yeah, Mr. Tavikins.
Mr. Tavikins.
Hello. There's the beard.
He's not travelling the breadth of Scandinavia today. Then
he got a new job today locally. He started, so he's going to be home more evenings. So today we got to have breakfast as a family in the middle of the week.
Oh, that's wonderful! I'm happy for you.
Tavi, did you know, right? In most countries in the Navy, they put the name of the ship and the registry on it. But in the Nordic countries in Scandinavia, they just put a barcode on it. That way, when they're coming into the port, they could just scan the Navy in.
Oh, God. Hang on.
With a Nordic husband, I've heard this joke many times.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
Did you think my husband would ever let that go?
Yeah, it's great.
I hadn't heard that one before, so that's pretty good. For
Scandinavian
you.
ones, I can probably do that.
Mm.
Damn it. Oh, well.
He also, the beard loves this episode as well, and he's upset that no one paid attention to how groundbreaking the ending was for the entire galaxy. So I was like, really?
Yeah, that's my problem with it. It just is such a massive outcome. It's probably like one of the biggest impacting outcomes of any episode in TNG, really. It's just such a massive thing. And yet it's kind of just like Picard just having a cup of tea at the end going, well, that's something we done. Move on to next week. And it's just like...
It's like murder mystery solved.
Yeah.
The ultimate question of everything was answered right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The meaning of life, the whole lot.
The literal meaning of life was finally answered. Yeah. Next.
And it got mentioned for one line in D Space Nine and never again.
Is it mentioned again? Is it?
It's mentioned again.
By Worf, funnily enough. But yeah.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah, crazy. Still.
All right.
I personally also, just one last thing, I also personally think they should have explicitly related it back to the aliens that they discovered in TOS. I've forgotten what they were called now. But the preservers in TOS, Paradise Syndrome. I just think that would have been...
They the ones they're the ones that go around and try to save species from destruction? Is that them? They intervene and keep certain civilizations alive that are about to...
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Just thought that would have, like, if they'd have like particularly done that, then it would have tied it all in a bit nicer with continuity. But I don't know. It was a good episode. I mean, I gave it a slightly above average. I just think it could have been better. It could have just been more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm probably just looking at it from modern lens. But there we go. So congratulations to Stu Plum for winning this week's quiz. Congratulations to Sean and Tavikins Turner for remembering to turn up after being off for a week. I was coming on knowing that Maz wasn't coming on, thinking, oh, I hope they appear, because I was going to be here by myself.
Of course.
Thank you to everyone in live chat who joined us this evening, including Wookie, Smiler Rainbow, My Wrench, Ruth, Stu Plum, Andrew for popping along and saying hi. Yeah, I think that's about it. And yeah. Just before we go, what is it next week, Sean? Do you know?
Yes, it is Frame of Mind, and that's kind of the episode where Riker's performing in a play, and then it's kind of there's a whole Inception thing where there's like, you know, he goes into realities inside of realities, and they keep breaking, if you recall. That's the general synopsis of it, and we'll find out more next week.
I have to think that doesn't ring any bells with me at all. So.
He's in a play where he's playing a crazy man. They keep shouting, "I'm not crazy," and then he's not in the play anymore. He's in a cell in a mental hospital.
Oh,
you don't remember that?
Blanked this one.
No, I've blanked this
one.
So
it's kind of an Inception thing where he kind of keeps jumping through different realities. He's not sure which one is real.
Which consciousness is the actual one?
Oh, it's a good one. It's a bit of a thinker.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that now. So yeah, join us next Wednesday at 8:00, where we'll be looking at Next Generation episode Frame of Mind. And we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.